Okay, we got to stop it early. We don't have time for this. We got everything going on, and what I wanted to get to today, I'm here because I want to say that the first thing I'm going to say is, welcome to Generation Movie. I'm here to give you your Marvels review, the Marvels, before we get to the weekend, so you can make a decision whether or not you're going to see it in the theater. And you should see it in the theater with as many people as possible, as large a crowd as possible, because it is a fun romp of a comic book movie, and it's a lot of fun, and it's not as serious. Doesn't rely so much on the heavy burden of other properties, although being well versed in the other properties will definitely behoove you. It works on its own, but I just want to say that this movie, the idea that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is dead, and that everything about it is dead and is greatly exaggerated. As we talk about the Marvels here today. But I got a big surprise. So it's through the magic of the internet and the interwebs. I found somebody who is as excited about this movie as I am. And here he is. Rich Trees!
Hey!
You're showing up on a Friday afternoon with me. This is incredible. People are going to be talking. I just want to say, starting off, first off, it's great to have you. I know you're busy. I know you got a lot of stuff going on.
Always a joy to be talking with you, though, my friend.
Yeah, we have the best time. Yes. I think that Marvel's having a great day. And I'm going to put forth that there are going to be naysayers out there. And I'm going to say to you, haters be damned. They should go away. Go back under their hole. Crawl back under your terribly misogynistic hole, because you have a film with 3 women leads, and we're definitely going to have some backlash against it. But while the film has some, CGI problems, the villain problem isn't as spectacular as they could be. I want to say that the Marvels is one of the better recent Marvel movies. It does not require it. While it is great that you have working knowledge of Disney Plus shows. Specifically WandaVision and Loki, and a couple others.
It does a much better job of
just being a movie, just being itself,
throwing in the exposition needed than I would say Multiverse.
Some of the other, right, yeah. And I think the other thing I'm going to say to everybody, and what I want to say to everybody is, we have in the Marvels what I think is the beating heart of the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan is as perfectly suited to her role. And I'm going to say this, and don't get crazy, but it's true. She's as suited to her role and as charismatic and as charming and as amazing to watch as Robert Downey Jr. was as Tony Stark. And I every time I see her, I get a bubble where I'm just super excited, and she brings this. It's charisma. It's blatant charisma, and it's another an actor that that Marvel has lucked into, and she is practically perfect in every scene, and she her charisma actually impacts other people in the movie. Her charisma knows no bounds. Rich Trees. Her charisma makes
a delight. Early on during the whole power switching things, when we first discovered that, she comes down, she finds out that while she was off in space, Carol Danvers was in her house, and she freaks out, and it's absolutely adorable.
Yeah, well, and actually, a lot of the, like, one of the things, like, Nia DaCosta, this director that they've taken, who did the Candyman reboot that not everybody was thrilled with, but upon further like looks at the Candyman reboot, it actually is a better movie than you think it is. And I think Nia DaCosta has a lot of things going on in her head. So not only does she make a competent comic book movie with 3 female leads that all get equal time and all get things to chew on, she's also crafted a Marvel movie that asks a serious question about what does it mean to be a hero, and what does it mean not only to be a hero, but what is the definition of a hero versus what are the definition of the villains that the hero is taking on, right? The idea that we have a hero worship complex, and it's in the Marvel universe. And what has happened is she constructs the movie in a way where there's a name thrown around about Carol Danvers, and I don't want to give away any spoilers. I don't want to ruin it for anybody.
And
I don't want to
honest,
be. Okay.
I would say that theme, also kind of like a sub theme of that, is the idea of the responsibility involved in regime change, that you just don't show up, get rid of a bad guy who's a dictator over an entire planet or an entire planetary empire, and then just fuck off into the stars. You have a responsibility to make sure that everything that person was doing to maintain the society is somehow replaced, and people aren't harmed by this,
by your decisions and your actions. Yes,
a very timely, eternally timely idea to think about. The movie doesn't explore that idea too much, I don't think, but
it's there.
Yeah, just looking at the world today, it certainly rang a bell.
I think the warmth that Imani Vellani brings to the role, she actually makes Brie Larson, who has been described by Marvel critics as cold and non-charismatic. She makes Brie Larson. She makes everyone around her. It's like that magic RDJ effect, right? Where you look up and everybody's great. Everybody's in a good spot. And I just think if Marvel is smart, and I think what we're watching, Rich, with the Marvels, and what we're watching as, Disney announced today that they're changing up, they're moving things back and they're moving things around, giving things time to work out. Deadpool moves back from May to July.
Which
I think
wasn't unexpected, but it's interesting that Marvel, for the first time since 2006, 2007,
not going to have a May movie.
Have a movie that first weekend in May, which is also traditionally pre-comic book day on that Saturday.
The May Marvel thing goes away. But I think it's interesting. I think we're in a reboot phase. I think we're in a reboot section, and I think the Marvel, like I was saying, Marvel's had a really good day, because I think, along with the Marvels, which I think is great and you should see in theaters, there are moments that you will not be able to replicate in your house that are just joyful, goofy comic book movie moments, and a great team up. Kamala and Photon, Captain Rambo, and Carol Danvers as a team become this enigmatic, cool thing. And it doesn't hurt that you have the Beastie Boys on the soundtrack. It doesn't hurt that you have Nick Fury running roughshod over the whole operation. It doesn't hurt that you have a real interesting subplot with Goose, the Flurkin. It doesn't hurt that you have all of these things. And you have some really magical, fun moments in the Marvel Universe. And it also is tied to this kind of over serious thing about hero worship. And I think a lot of the movie hinges on Iman Vellani, and she delivers. So in the charismatic sequences, she delivers. In the sequences where she sees a hero, not quite the hero she has plastered all over her walls,
or built up in her own mind,
is a real eye-opening actress turn for her. So what I'm saying to you, Rich, is I think she is a fully capable actress that is going to be able for us, when we experience her first true loss, or her first true loss, or her first loss is Miss Marvel, her first betrayal is Miss Marvel, her first everything is Miss Marvel. I think through that microcosm, we're going to see that. I am excited about the Marvel Cinematic Universe again today. And there's another reason to be excited, Rich. And there's a bonus review. I'm going to talk about Glorious Purpose really quick. Loki season 2 was muddled. Okay, it was all over the place. It didn't have a through line.
Okay, thank you for saying that, because I felt kind of the same way, and I felt I was taking crazy pills while everybody else was just jumping up and down about how great.
I think everybody likes the character so much that we're willing to forego any kind of. We like Hiddleston playing Loki so much that we're willing to let anything go. And I think what has happened was the first season was very kind of climactic, and this season looked as if it was on an anticlimactic. Like, they got to where they were going at the end of the first season. They didn't know what the hell they were doing in the second season. But Glorious Purpose, season 2, episode 6, it sticks the goddamn landing. And it sticks the landing so hard and so good about the idea of what Loki has become and what Loki is going to be and what Loki becomes. It sticks it so hard that the idea of the Marvel Cinematic Universe being dead, and we're going to hear a lot of it this weekend. If the Marvels doesn't do great at the box office, I still think it can pick up word of mouth and do better as it goes along. It's going to be a little bit different from the other Marvel movies. But for all the talk that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is dead, the concept that Loki ends the way it does and special, and just the two, like the Marvels and Loki are the two things that I want to say I haven't had moments in Marvel cinematic movies in the last couple years, right? Or shows, right? We have some things like WandaVision sticks with you, but Hawkeye doesn't, or Secret Invasion definitely doesn't. And then, like, there's some things that stick with you and some things that don't. Like, I happen to enjoy, Falcon and Winter Soldier, but you know what I mean? Like, some of them stick and some of them don't. But Loki stuck the landing, and Glorious Purpose, if it's the last time you see Loki in television form, it's a fantastic ending to a series. And it is the beginning, a jumping off point for him where whatever happens. I don't want to give away any spoilers. I'm trying to be spoiler free. But I think Marvel's having a very good day, Rich, and we're going to hear all kinds of naysayers and fucking idiots come out of the woodwork in the next 24 to 48 hours about, oh, look, it's bombing. Oh, it's not good. And the thing is, Rich, go see the fucking movie. Don't let anybody ruin the ending for you, there is one ending, I should say, after the credits tag, that's as important, if not more important, than we've ever had.
I would say that there's two credit scenes.
Right,
it's
but
just
the one is attached.
Is right before the main credits start to roll, because it really doesn't relate to the rest of the movie. It felt like this should have been all the way at the end or whatever. I like it a lot. It does imply that we're going to see some more of Kamala Khan. With the
any more Kamala Khan, I'm good.
With the release schedule shakeup, I don't know where we're going to see her next. I have an idea or two, and I write about that as well as the other mid-credits scene on Film Buff Online. So if you've seen the movie, because this is just an entire 1,700-word analysis of spoilers, feel free to hop over then and this weekend after you see the movie and check that out.
Yeah, Film Buff Online, great place for those things. I think we're going to hear a lot about the death knell about the Marvel Cinematic, and I just don't think it also happens to coincide with a movie with 3 female leads, all of different races. So I'm sure there's not going to be anything to that.
No.
That, I mean, we're certainly evolved that we're not going to get into the fact that it's an African American, a Pakistani woman, and a white female. We're not going to let that ruin our weekend, are we? I hope not.
Who already has a somewhat tarnished image that has been tarnished by misrepresentation of things that she has said in the past.
Yes, well, yeah, the Brie Larson thing is just hilarious. I know you're having fun moments playing with people online. I can't even deal with it. And what I'm going to say is,
did you see where I told some dude was like, my dog has more range than Brie Larson? And I was just like, Brie Larson has more Oscars than your dog.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing, and I think one of the interesting things that Brie Larson's a really good actress, and I think she for whatever reason has gotten this tarnished image. But I'm gonna tell you right now, Iman Vellani solves a lot of trouble. Rich, she solves a lot of trouble for a lot of things. She can make like her Miss Marvel as a series is fantastic. I loved it when I first saw it. I love it more now. I just think they lucked out when they got this particular actress who happens to know everything about her character. She is as big a nerd as you or I.
Oh yeah.
And it's fantastic. Let's go to some comments. We have 12 comments.
Whoa,
oh my goodness. Okay, so let's see. We got hi from Jamie Hill. Hi. Of course, the star Skinamarink and many other things. Hi, Rich. She says hi, Rich. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon, Joe Ridgely.
Let's see. Joseph.
Iman is amazing. She truly believes in the franchise. Nerd queen. Yes. I'm going to tell you right now, Raven. I know somebody ruined the movie for you and gave you the ending, but you'll enjoy the movie anyway. And the ending will, if you need any, I'm sure you don't need any help on the ending. Glorious Purpose. I like it, but it wasn't as strong as the first season. Yes. Hope we get a third season to closer. I don't think we get a third season.
I think it was just designed as a 2-season.
I think it's two. I think it's two, but we will get him back. I don't know where. I don't know when, but we shall see. The god of dream, the god of mischief, or the god of stories sometime again. MCU isn't dead. Those who think it is are idiots. Yes, there's franchise fatigue, and yes, not all the experiments that have tried have worked. But I think how Thor 2 is my favorite. It was used as a very big world-building movie. That's absolutely true. What I'm going to say here is the interesting thing about this movie is the Costa makes a movie that is accessible. It's accessible just on the idea that it's a 3-person character piece with 3 very they all have relationships. Miss Marvel's relationship is a little bit in her head. Captain Marvel has a very big relationship and big problem with the Monica Rambeau character. And then, they all get put together and it's a real nice, I wouldn't mind another Marvels movie. I'm not going to coming out of this movie. And I just think, and if they wanted to give Nia DaCosta another shot, if she decides she wants to make another Marvel movie, they should let her, because it's one of the few times where a independent director's come in and been able to make a movie without all of the weight and the burden that Marvel brings to the table with everything that's come before it. And she does a really good job, a really solid, spectacular job.
She inherited 3 solid actresses for this, that we've seen in other parts of the franchise already. But hats off to the casting director involved in bringing all of them in for somehow forecasting some kind of magical alchemy to get the chemistry that we get between these 3. It's so much fun. It's so breezy. I could just, I wouldn't mind a 2-hour movie of them just hanging out, drinking Cosmos, recast Sex in the City with these 3 gals.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And that's the thing.
They were just so much
that's
fun.
The thing. There is a
camaraderie.
The camaraderie and the chemistry of the 3 is really palpable, and that's something you just can't buy, right? Let's see. Raven also says, no spoilers, but I got to talk about the mid-credit one. At some point, we'll talk, Raven. We can't. I'm not going to give it away on the review. I promise spoiler-free things. Hello, Enviro Earth 2. I don't know if that's a bot, if that's are you a person? I hope it's a person. Enviro Earth 2. That sounds like the new BioShock game. But cool. I'm glad you're here. Can't wait to see the Marvels. Yes, go see it. Bring a bunch of friends. It's really great. And people were talking. I will say if you haven't paid attention to all of Disney Plus, all the Disney Plus shows like Rich and I have, I will say there was some grumbling in my screening of who the hell is that? At one point, the first end sequence. There were a couple people in the audience didn't know, and they were hastily chastised by the Thursday night Marvel crew. How the hell do you not know that? The Miss bullshit Bleck. Yeah, well, I think we're going to hear a lot of that this weekend, especially if the box office is low. But I will say, I think Rich has a point. I think there's a good potential for a significant hold next week, because there's not a lot of competition coming out.
Mhm.
I mean, we have a couple
I
things.
don't think drop it like 60% or anything like that, honestly.
I don't see a 60%. I think it'll be lower. And then what else we got? It's The Thing and Reed Richards. Oh, somebody's trouble. This Enviro Earth is trouble. Laugh out loud at Rich. And then Raven said, I'm hoping for a bit more background building on Monica, her mom, other superhero names. I mean, for those two actors being basically secondary characters in multiple movies, but I would love more history with her. Well, Raven, I would say you're going to get your wish.
At some point.
Don't know when, don't know where, but you're going to get your wish.
I would say look to 2025, 2026 maybe.
But
tangentially, I am saying that we have not seen the last of the date changes for the MCU.
I don't think so
either. Pushing the rest
well,
of
I think
Phase 5 off a year. They're going to have to push a lot. I'm not going to lie.
I think another thing that has to be discussed when you talk about the Marvels, talk about Loki, a lot has to do with Jonathan Majors, which I don't want. I have no interest in kind of hashing out. I mean, if he did something wrong to a female or other females, he has to go, right?
Yes, absolutely. So get his day for it as well.
Yes, absolutely. But I think a lot of it's going to hinge on what happens there, because that's another bit of casting. As you watch Loki: Glorious Purpose, he's so good as Kang. He's so good as Kang. And it's just
it's frustrating that he may potentially be a bad human being, and sometimes artists who are talented are also
bad human beings. Yeah, troubled people. Yeah.
So,
but like I said, I'm fairly confident after Loki, Glorious Purpose, and the Marvels that Kevin Feige, what's that old John Wayne line from Big Jake, I can't remember what my end has been greatly thrown out of proportion, or my demise has been over exaggerated.
Stories of my demise have been greatly
exaggerated. I think that's the truth. I think if you go to the Marvels, you get a good comic book movie that works on its own. Negatives, I'll say again the same thing to Rich that I'll say to anybody else. Villain isn't great. She's egregious, but she's not a Marvel level villain. She acquires things that make her a Marvel level villain, but she's essentially somebody that was a bureaucrat that was given a bum rap and had to kind of fish things, and fights for her people. I do love that. I do love that running through it. The idea that Carol Danvers is constantly called Annihilator, and we call her Captain Marvel. So it's a real interesting thing that doesn't get plumbed at the depths that they could. And also, Rich, I think they could plumb to the depths. The more these three work together, you could definitely get into because there's a whole thing going on with Monica too. There's a whole, you didn't come back, and I didn't think I could come back until something was done, and I think there's a real nice thread through it that's a serious question about hero worship that Nia DaCosta kind of just throws in there with her India roots, and is able to come back and say, hey, it's something there, but you're going to come for Iman Vellani, you're going to come for Brie Larson, you're going to come and you're going to come for all three of them. They're all three stellar to watch. Photon or whatever, however you want to call her. Monica Rambeau is. All three actresses have great chemistry. The movie is legit funny. There are at least. It's got a goofy charm to it that's fun to watch. And I Deadpool 3 and Secret Wars, two different movies, but two very big movies that are in the pipeline somewhere in the back of Kevin Feige's mind. Johnny Depp to the MCU? Absolutely not.
No.
Stories of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. Thank you, Raven. As of mine. But in finishing up, I think Marvel's had a really good day. I think Glorious Purpose. If you haven't watched Loki, first season again, great. Second season, a little muddled and kind of like not like spinning its wheels a little bit. And then it gets to the last two episodes and it finally figures out it's not a show about time travel and goofiness and stopping Kang. It's a show about Loki finding him, like finding what he is. And the last two episodes, I can't talk about enough about how good the writing was, especially Glorious Purpose. Glorious Purpose, I thought the writing in that episode was spectacular. There's a sequence involving Sylvie and Kang and Loki that's both heartbreaking, and also devilish. Just completely devilish and everything you'd want out of a Marvel villain. Just like sitting behind a chair, just laughing about the idea that how many times have we done this? Have we done this? Have we done this enough? No. Where are we at? You need a few more times. Figure out what we're doing. Oh, but the Marvels I can't recommend enough. It's a winner. It no matter what you hear from crazy people this weekend, that it's got three girls and there's comedy in it. Blah, 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 blah. Let it go. Just go see the movie, see it with the crowd, see it with people you like. Tell you what, if you have a young
mindset, go with the mindset to have fun.
Yes.
This isn't like a super dark, serious Poe fate. Okay, the first Captain Marvel I felt was a little kind of like self-serious. But this is a movie that's kind of like shaking that off and going, you know what? Let's have some fun here. You know, it doesn't always have to be so, you know, why so serious? Sorry.
Why so serious? Yes, a different franchise. But also, like, I also want to say to you, if you have a young girl in your life, I guarantee you take this young girl child in your life to this movie. I think any children would have a good time with this movie. There's a exuberance to it. There's the fight sequences. I would also say, Rich, are really well done. One of the recent criticisms of recent MCU stuff is that the choreography's gotten a little jacked up and not really as great. And that's basically from franchise people who are watching movies like John Wick and want things bone crunching. But it's
and
fun.
The idea that they keep switching positions while they're fighting in close quarters. I mean, we do have that little training montage showing them how they can better coordinate themselves when doing
Every
this kind of
movie
stuff.
needs a Beastie Boys montage going forward,
which was nice. But once it finally comes down to them actually having a fight sequence and they're switching positions, you never lose sense of the geography of the overall fight. I don't feel.
And they teach you the rules of the switch. So if you've seen the trailers where they're moving, they all have to figure out where they're going to be when things are happening, when they use their powers. And they have to be able to coordinate. So the cool thing there is an interesting side note there in the fights. They don't win they don't win every fight. They don't also land every punch. They don't also use their powers properly in some places. So it's at a slight view, it could be a hero worship deconstruction film that's fused onto this wonderfully giddy girl power, fun, excellently done comic book movie that doesn't have any of the serious overburden of having to know every single thing for the movie to work. If you do, great. If you don't, it's not going to kill you. It's not going to hurt you.
Just know there's a superhero from New Jersey, another superhero who works for a spy agency that protects the Earth, and there's another superhero.
That's classified. We don't talk about Saber. Okay. We don't talk about Saber, Rich. But yeah, I know it's somebody that's been in the stars, and she's been alone. Like, that is one thing we've not thought about Captain Marvel since the Avengers Endgame and since everything else. When she was here with everybody, she's been alone with Goose. That's it. That's the team. So all the other Marvel teams are all like, Guardians are all together. They get to pour things into themselves. I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's a better day in Marvel Cinematic World than the naysayers would like to admit. So,
well, they're not going to ever anyway. So
they're jerks. Okay, so let's do a couple questions and then we're done. Let's see. Give me Flurkins or die. Laugh out loud. Definitely not gonna have a problem.
You get Flurkins.
You should go. Robert Downey Jr. made the first canceled celebrity way before it started. Then Tony Stark came along. Well, Robert Downey Jr. paid the price. He didn't make a lot of money for Iron Man. Nobody remembers that. Terrence Howard made all the money for Iron Man.
And Robert Downey Jr. also did a lot of work on himself. And I don't think anybody would argue that he's not a better person today than he was 20 years ago when he was like super strung out on drugs and having all his problems and demons.
And bouncing from houses. You remember that one story where it's like he went to bed in a house and it wasn't even his? Think there'll be people complaining about the casting of Dara? She's Hiddleston's significant other, kind of like the Brie bitching thing. There won't be a complaint about her per se. The biggest complaint that's going to come out about Dar-Ben is that she's just not movie level. My guess, Rich. She's not a movie level villain. She has
a point of view. She has a point of view, and by the time you find out about it, you're kind of at least partially sympathetic to what she's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, why she's doing it, but maybe you're carrying it a bit too far by killing.
What you're doing isn't great. No. So it's the level of villainy, but it's good because we're not focused on the villain. We're focused on the Marvels. The movie is called The Marvels. Mm-hmm. We're focused on these three women.
Well, that's always been the MCU, though. Or with a couple of exceptions like Loki or Thanos, we're very much always focused in on the heroes and not the villains.
How is the FX? No one needs Secret Invasion type FX and Drax Orange Heat. It's fine. The effects. I think the unionization of the Disney effects people is going to bring about a new level of effects for Marvel and for Disney in general. So they're fine. Let's see. Ken, good afternoon. Sorry I'm late. We've got a half hour, Ken. We got to go. I got to let Rich go. He's got busy things to do. I got to go. But thank you for joining us.
Are pretty much done, but
yeah. Well, where can people find your interesting take on the two credit sequences that are both astoundingly important to the future of the MCU?
You can find that and all of my writings, including my written review of the Marvels and of The Holdovers with Paul Giamatti from director Alexander Payne, which is also opening this weekend. And I would recommend that to you as well. So if you're in the mood to do 2 movies this weekend, there's your second choice, or my second recommendation.
I almost did it, Rich. The showtimes didn't work out. We went to the 6 o'clock IMAX show of the Marvels, and The Holdovers didn't start till 10:20, so I couldn't pull it off.
But all of that can be found at filmbuffonline.com. You can find Film Buff Online on Facebook, and my socials are at Film Buff Rich on the Twitter or Blue Sky.
Let's see. I'm JW the Movie Guy on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever, Blue Sky, all over the place. I also want to talk about a couple things before we go. Branding things, of course, for us. This thing has happened. So we started November 7th. Loud and Nerdy is now on the Interscape Network on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Although I'm going to tell you, Rich, I think we're going to shift to 9 because I think we might be able to get a little bit better. I might not have as many kids to deal with and things. You can also join us, Rich and I, on our regular time slot, Monday nights at 10, Generation Movie. We've started our Thanksgiving dive. We will do Pieces of April this Monday. You can catch it on Tubi if you want to watch it beforehand and join in the talk. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Rich, for being a special guest.
And no problem. Glad to be here.
Fulfilling my Siskel and Ebert dreams because you're thin and I'm chunky. Woohoo! Thanks, Joe. Have a great night. Stay safe. We'll see everybody Monday. Take care. Oh, I got to end it.